Alright, hello everyone and welcome to AEW Discussion. I'm your host and AEW enthusiast Dougie Doug. In today's episode I'm going to be discussing Dynamite September 27, 2023 edition, and we are 4 days away from the inaugural Wrestle Dream pay-per-view. AEW would make a stop in the First Bank Center in Broomfield, Colorado for an episode of Dynamite that was intended to lay the final groundwork for the top feuds and stars, so it takes center stage on Sunday evening. And well, in terms of a go-home show trying to create hype for a pay-per-view, came up short in that regard. Some good things did happen though. Julia Hart picked up some momentum ahead of her TBS Championship match against Chris Statlander, and there were some promo segments from some of the competitors competing on the show to hype up their matches. And yeah, with that, we'll go ahead and get right into the action, starting with a blind eliminator match. Nick Jackson versus Brian Cage versus Claudio Castagnoli. Winner taking on Rey Fenix next week on the Dynamite Anniversary Show for the All-Atlantic Championship, that winner being Nick Jackson. And like the opening match, which was between Phoenix and Jeff Jarrett, there was a clash of styles in this triple threat match, but unlike the opening match, the clash of styles here in this match worked. Jackson and Castagnoli working together to hold the ferocity of Cage was a nice touch, as was Jackson stealing the win from his bigger opponents. As Excalibur pointed out, there is a history between Jackson and Phoenix, which goes back to, I think, 4 years ago at the start of Dynamite. While a Nick Jackson singles title match might not have been something people expected, it at least makes sense that Phoenix and Jackson would compete against each other on the 4-year anniversary show, again considering the history between them. Adam Cole and MJF promo. So, unfortunate news here. Adam Cole revealing that he suffered a broken ankle in 3 places and torn ligaments that will require surgery, so he's out of action. But good news, MJF will defend the Ring of Honor tag titles by himself against the Righteous, and also we got MJF versus Jay White loading for the AEW World Championship. So a lot to unpack from this segment here. And with Adam Cole being on the shelf, that brings about a temporary end to the current story friendship between Cole and MJF. But AEW wasted no time revealing what is next for MJF, as Jay White would reveal that he would be challenging for the title next, and then MJF would So MJF and Jay White went at it on the mic, and that was a pretty good back and forth between those two. And the write-off for Cole as he went to assist a bleeding Roderick Strong and segue into the MJF White feud. Well done by AEW, and it made this a far better segment than it had the potential to be. MJF versus White is going to be great if and when it takes place. So, yeah, very curious to see after Wrestle Dream what the status of the ROH tag titles are, because it doesn't sound like MJF has any interest in relinquishing those titles. So how does Wrestle Dream play out? And if he does successfully retain, which would be a hilarious idea that he does, but say that he does, do the tag titles just go on the shelf with Adam Cole? I guess we'll see how that one plays out. Fatal 4-way match, Orange Cassidy versus Matt Jackson versus Penta El Romero and versus Austin Gunn. So the reason this Fatal 4-way match came together, as you all know, there's a Fatal 4-way tag team match to determine the next challengers for the AEW tag titles, and each of the men in this match were representing a team in that match. And this was a non-stop action-packed match that saw Matt Jackson looking to replicate his brother's success with brother in the show, but ultimately he would eat an orange punch from Cassidy, who would pick up the victory. It was the right call creatively for Cassidy to win here. He and Hook are the least experienced team in this match, having competed on just one occasion, and even if it isn't a Fatal 4-way singles match, Cassidy winning allows his team to build some momentum ahead of the tag team bout. Now, it's unlikely that Cassidy and Hook will win the match, and I don't think there's too many people asking for a match between Cassidy and Hook versus FTR. So, hey, it's a nice little win for Cassidy here, but again, unlikely that him and Hook win that matchup. Who does win that matchup? It's hard to say. My guess would be the Lucha Brothers, because we've already seen FTR versus Young Bucks this year, and FTR versus the Guns. I think that already happened this year as well. So you want to do something that I can't recall being done in a minute. I don't know if FTR versus Lucha Brothers has been done, but if it has, it's been a minute, because I don't remember. Again, if it has happened, I don't remember the last time it did. So in conclusion, The intent was there for a show designed to put over the significance of Sunday's Wrestle Dream pay-per-view, but unfortunately not everything hits. A large portion of Wednesday's show was devoted to MJF, his program with Adam Cole coming to a temporary end with Adam Cole's injury, and the start of his feud with Jay White. And outside of that promo segment, which did have an effect on the tag team match against the Righteous at Wrestle Dream, nothing about that segment had any real implication on the pay-per-view. The segments that did have implication on the pay-per-view or had anything to do with the pay-per-view were solid, and the result is a Wrestle Dream card that looks great on paper, but because of a lackluster go-home show, it kind of took a hit in the hype and excitement department, but I trust in the talent to deliver. So yeah, talent should deliver. It's a good card, great card. And again, talent will deliver like they usually do. And with that will conclude this episode of AEW Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.